My first grade teacher told my parents, Randy likes the other kids and he gets along with them. And if somebody asks him to play, he will, and he enjoys it. But he's also just as content playing on his own. And so a couple of weeks ago, Martin Coward, whom you just met, asked me, so what did Randy as a kid like to do? And I had to think about it. But when I was content playing on my own, I think it was usually make believe. I pretended to be a teacher, pretended to be a game show host and performer, pretended to be a newscaster. And Martin said, did you ever get to do those things? And it took me a second to realize that I still do those things. All of those things I got to do. I teach workshops. I perform in storytelling shows. I still write and report and do news. And I even got to work in Congress. Things that I didn't even do in make believe, I've gotten to do more. And it really put my life and my accomplishments in perspective in a way that I hadn't thought of them before, and about how lucky I am. I don't think Martin realized what he was doing, but he was actually turning the tables on me, because that's usually the role that I fill for people. I ask people the questions to bring their perspective, their stories into perspective. And sometimes it's about their family, sometimes it's their work or organization, or it might be much more personal, maybe even about their childhoods. By the way, I did projects with SJ and Lydia. I'm not just some creep who has childhood pictures of them, but so when I do storytelling shows, I tell my own personal stories. But my focus through First Story Strategies is helping people understand and use their stories. So stories are the oldest, most effective means of communication. Cave drawings were not PowerPoints or bullet points or charts. They were stories. Stories resonate with us. They help us process new information. They inspire us to act. And that's because we are wired to respond to the principles of storytelling. I'll show you what I mean. Here's a fun fact. The first ever cute cat video was two cats boxing. It was filmed in 1894 by Thomas Edison. Two short sentences there, right? You saw them, you heard them. When we take in new information through any of our senses, we instantly have questions. Edison, what? 1894? What do these cats look like? They're boxing, you say? Those questions run through a part of our brain called the neural story net. It's a really, really cool evolutionary thing that humans have developed to fill in the missing info. So maybe you thought about what you know about Thomas Edison. Maybe you thought about cats you know. Maybe you thought about it through a different lens based on your life experiences and decided that maybe I was lying to you, that you couldn't trust me as a messenger. But all of that happened so fast before you even realized that you had processed these two sentences about cats and Thomas Edison. Just in a flash, your brain automatically realized what information it was missing to make sense of this and filled it in with story details, characters, setting, action, visuals. In other words, the things that make stories. And by the way, for those of you who thought that I was lying, here's proof that I wasn't. This is the actual first known film of cats. So the fact that we process new things by filling in story details is so cool to me. But it also means that the instant we communicate something, I don't care if it's a marketing email, a joke, a text, the person seeing or hearing it or reading it processes it by filling in story details based on their life experiences. So what I try to do with my work is a blend of art and science. Listening, helping people find the story details of their own lives and use that to connect with their audience's lives. Their audiences are bringing their own stories to the communication. So more specifically, the services I provide. I help a business or nonprofit align their goals with how they talk about these goals, especially communicating their impact on people or characters. That starts with understanding their story and their audience's story, and then where the two meet. When you're a reporter on multiple deadlines at a time, or a congressional press secretary taking phone calls about several different issues at once, those were intense experiences I had. I loved those experiences. And I realized over time that they had trained me to be able to write on any topic in any format and in someone else's voice when called for. So web copy, bios, newsletters, speeches, ghostwriting, blogs, any kind of written product. I love helping record people's words on video and audio. I don't shoot or edit myself, but I have videographer partners who do that. And so my role is usually as a producer or reporter. I ask the questions, I put the story together, the script, I handle the logistics, and I like to be able to have access to the people to put together the perfect team for each individual story. Some of you know I've helped SJ with the family storytelling project. I've helped Lydia tell her Arbonne story. Um, I sat with a widow one day after her husband died, looking through photos so that we could find just the exact right things to go in a tribute video at his wake the next day. So sometimes those are fun, sometimes they're tough, but it is the most touching and rewarding work I do. And I really hope that it's a business growth opportunity for me to help more individuals and families tell their stories. Some of my workshop and training topics, storytelling for leaders, storytelling for business growth, repurposing content to get the most out of your story. So I've done trainings for businesses, chambers, families, one-on-one coaching. I'm occasionally able to do free engagements, but to be frank, as Kim alluded to a minute ago, I'm really looking for companies and organizations that are willing to invest in that kind of training. Thanks to BNI and other groups, I have a fantastic network of partners and collaborators. These are just some of them. So in terms of referrals from BNI colleagues, I'm not actively looking for more power partners right now. I love that I have this group of trusted solo pros and small shops who are willing to work with me to mix and match so we can build the perfect right-sized team for whatever project might come up. But this network also means that I feel I can be a great starting point if you have anybody with communications or marketing needs. I'd be happy to chat with them. If it's not something I can help with, I probably know who can. So the people I am looking to meet, people who say, I don't know how to talk about myself. So maybe they're trying to write a bio or a website or a business proposal, or they want to blog and they have great ideas, but they just don't know how to start getting them on the page. Or maybe they're applying for jobs and they hate cover letters as much as we all hate cover letters. I can usually help with that kind of thing. Professional development planners. Again, the best connections to help me book trainings and workshops are private sector people who line up paid speakers and trainings. And that's different within each company, but if you come across those people, I would love an introduction. Here's where I love falling back on my time in news and politics and public advocacy. I might sit down with a nonprofit or association and say, okay, look, your goal next year is to raise more money and get this one bill passed. Your 47-page white paper is very thoroughly researched. I know you have a media strategy, but those things are probably not going to get through on their own. If you want funders and elected officials on your side, you want your neighbors to support your work, you've got to show the faces and tell the stories of the people you impact. So let's figure that out first, and then let's figure out how to communicate that. Often these groups don't have an in-house communications team, and I can fill that role for them effectively and cost effectively if it's a capacity area that they're looking to build. We all know people who are hard to buy for. And when a gift just really needs to be special, there are some great one-of-a-kind gift ideas that we can think of together that are based on stories and shared experiences. I love brainstorming those ideas and coming up with the perfect thing for somebody who might be hard to buy for. And I want to meet anyone who works with seniors or families. A big growth area for me, like I mentioned, is doing more family stories. I mean, imagine losing someone and 6 weeks later you finally get the chance to go through the attic and you wonder why would he have saved this one birthday card from 1976. Well, we've missed the opportunity to ask. There are veterans who understandably don't like to talk about some of the things they've seen and been through. Well, I'm a good listener and a friendly face as far as strangers go, so maybe they will talk to me and we can share those stories on their terms when they're ready. So for this, state attorneys and Funeral professionals are great connections. When someone's planning their pre-need services or their other end-of-life issues, it might be a good time to think about the story part of that too. What is the legacy that they're leaving behind? Thinking about what is going to go in their eulogy. What do they want to be mentioned in their obituary as life accomplishments, so that it's not just a list of grandnephews and things that get put into a template as an afterthought. Let's think about that legacy ahead of time. So stories are important and we owe them to each other, but we also owe it to ourselves to understand how to use them as to be better communicators professionally and personally. And I look forward to talking more with each of you about the people you think I can help do that. So thanks for your time. Thank you again to all of our visitors who came today, many of whom are part of my story. I'm Randy Ford for Story Strategies.